back. Girl, sit back. But, Stormy, I'm not going to tell you again. Sit back. Sit back.
We're talking about laughter as a resource today. And that's because laughter is one of my favorite resources and one of the most fun resources. It's also really very good for your body, more good for you than you would imagine. And so that's why we say things like laughter is the best medicine, because it truly is good for your body. And there's some benefits to laughing. So let's talk about that today. Here are some of the benefits to your body. You can increase your brain chemicals. You can replenish your lungs, especially that deep laughter. If you've ever just gotten really tickled and just feel that deep laughter where you have to catch your breath, that's really good for your lungs. Relaxes your tension and your muscles. A lot of times that laughter is a release of what we talk about our nervous system and the survival energy and some of that stress, the stress that's inside of us. This is a release to process it and get it out. Reduces your stress hormones in the body, so it not only releases, but it lightens. So then you don't feel as stressed after you laugh. Protects your heart, increases your immune system functioning, so some physical benefits in there. And it's actually a workout. That's why sometimes when we laugh really hard, we end up holding our stomachs and saying, my stomach hurts, because we are working out some muscles while we laugh, which is kind of a cool benefit. Laughter is contagious. A lot of times if you've been around other people that are laughing, you end up laughing yourself. Sometimes we can get so tickled that we can't even talk anymore. We're having conversation. We just end up laughing together. It's just so good for you. Laughter is one of those things that you can actually fake. I'm not really big on the whole fake it till you make it type of thing, but laughter is one of those things. If you start pretending to laugh, sometimes you actually end up laughing. Sometimes just hearing those laugh noises come out of your mouth can increase your laughter. It's also a good release for grief. A lot of times when we are walking through really hard things, it can be so sobering and, when even tragedy and things like that. It's good to find those moments when you can laugh. That's why, at funerals, a lot of times people will tell funny stories as they're remembering the person that they're honoring. And they will tell stories to make people laugh. And that laugh is actually a good release for grief. Kind of keeps us away from those deep depths of depression. And so it's good whenever you are going through periods of grief, instead of feeling guilty or feeling ashamed that you're laughing, just look at that as a healthy processing of what you're going through. So find more things to laugh about. That might mean exploring your sense of humor. You may not know, what you find funny. And so it might be a good task on your list to go find out what's funny to you. Pay attention to that. Pay attention to what makes you laugh. Start making a list of those things, the things that you find funny, even, just write them down, put them in your phone, somewhere where you have a list. And that way, whenever you are stressed out, when you feel that heavy stress or overwhelm, when you're going through an emotional period and you're struggling with your emotions and you need release, you can go to that list and maybe pick some things, whether you feel like it or not, right? Because a lot of times when we're in stress or overwhelm or emotional, we may not feel like laughing at first, but it can be very, very healthy and a good discipline to create in your life, that when you feel those times of stress, overwhelm, emotional upheaval, you choose laughter. You choose to handle some of it with laughter. And I'm not meaning to just be flippant or casual about things that are serious. As long as we're dealing with the real issues and the real problems, it's healthy for us to take a break from that, right? And to spend a few minutes or a few hours in something that's going to allow our system to process and allow our system to release. Save funny things on your phone. You come across something you read that's really funny. You can save it on your phone. There's little buttons on social media that allow you to save things that you come across that you want to look at later. There's ways to save. I at one point made a scrapbook type thing where I was cutting out quotes and stuff that really helped me to think about things differently and in a different perspective. Some of them were very funny. Keep something like that, some kind of journal that talks about funny things that have happened to you. Something that allows you to save things kind of for a rainy day type thing. But that's some ways that you can use laughter as a resource. You don't need any supplies except for the humor inside of you, but there are some good things that we can use to kind of find some laughter. The first one I thought I'd mention is good old-fashioned conversation or activity, doing things with friends and family. Finding the friends and family that can make you laugh. I know I have certain friends and family that I could name to you right now that anytime I'm around them, I'm going to end up laughing. They are just funny people. They just they have a gift, to bring joy to people. I have a son that's hilarious. His comedic timing. He's not even like trying to be funny, so to speak. Like he's not doing stand up. He just says things and they're just hilarious, and we just end up laughing. So get around people that are funny. You're having a bad day, get around somebody who's going to make you laugh. That laughter is going to lighten your mood and increase the goodness in your day, right? So another thing that we have available to us in this current culture that can be detrimental to our health, but it's a tool. We can use it for our health. We can use it as a resource. We can find resourcing in it. We can filter it out. Social media, YouTube, all of those things have ways to filter out the bad. You can decide what you want to see and what you don't want to see. You can hit that button, don't show me this anymore. You can kind of filter your things on the internet, and I use those features a lot. I keep my scroll, if I'm going to end up scrolling something, it's going to be a bunch of good things, a bunch of uplifting things. It's going to be limited drama and full of laughter, hopefully. And so social media, YouTube, those are good places to find things that make you laugh. We want those things to be good and uplifting. We don't want to be laughing like in a mean or ugly way, at people. Sometimes I struggle with that, the line, because there's certain things that are funny on the internet and, they're people doing things. And some of those things, like I think, oh man, I would be so mortified. I would be so embarrassed. And I have trouble laughing at those things. I'm like, that poor person. I love it when people can laugh at themselves. That's when I can really laugh, when I know that person is just enjoying, doesn't take themselves too seriously and is just enjoying that moment of laughter, able to laugh at themselves. So that's a good way to find some things to laugh at. Another thing is television, and I know, I feel like the shows and the movies and things that a lot of the things that that culture finds funny in this season, I think are dumb. Like, I'm just like, that's so dumb. That doesn't make me laugh at all. But see, that my sense of humor is different. So it's about finding what your sense of humor is. But I will tell you, when I was growing up, we used to watch a lot of the older shows. Like I Love Lucy is still one of my favorites. And that show, I've watched every episode how many umpteen times, and that show still can make me laugh when I watch an episode. different things, different ways that they respond to each other, wisecracks or whatever. And another funny show is growing up that I watched was Boy Meets World. I know it's like a kind of a kid show, but it was very funny to me. My kids watch that every now and then, and I'll end up watching some of it and laughing. Home Improvement was another one. The Dick Van Dyke Show was funny. I watch a show called Monk that I find hilarious. So there's some decent things out there on, that you can find, especially in this day and age when you have all these choices. You can just turn on, Prime or Hulu or Netflix or whatever, and you can pick what you want to watch. You have a lot of choices, things that make you laugh. So I'm going to leave a list of things down in the description of this lesson that can kind of lead you into, that search. I mean, most people already know what they find funny. It's just a matter of choosing those things, more often. And like I said, we always balance this with the reality of life, right? And we don't want to laugh off everything. I know my siblings and I handle a lot of our childhood trauma with laughter. And so we'll end up laughing about things that are not funny in the least. Like we'll be laughing about them and being like, this is definitely a trauma response, because that is not funny at all. It's actually really sad and tragic. So those are the things that we're still working on. But sometimes if you don't laugh, you'll cry. And crying's not a bad thing either. We're going to talk about that next. But sometimes you just find humor in things to keep you able to go through them, right? To survive them. And that's because laughter is just such a great resource for us and for our bodies.